Okay. Howdy, everyone. My name's Paul Addis. I'm the reference librarian at the Coos Bay Public Library. And with me today, I have Dennis Dater from the Bay Area Seniors Computer Club. And Dennis is going to be teaching us some of the basic features of PowerPoint. Dennis, it's all yours.
Okay, thanks, Paul. I'd like to welcome everybody and kind of do a little housekeeping before we actually begin. PowerPoint is a program that's been around a long, long time. Every couple of years, Microsoft updates it. Now, one of the things I'm going to strongly suggest is that as you have questions after this is over, you go online and look up the questions like a Google search, or you take a free class that's offered. There's several companies that will offer free classes. One of the things that I found is that I looked at an answer to a question I had, but they were using a different version of PowerPoint than I was. So that really gets confusing. So if you see a class or if you get an answer, see if you can verify up front that you have the same version they have, because Microsoft adds new features and they move things around quite a bit. I think that's just to make it look new so that people spend money on a new product. Okay.
One thing I forgot to add, Dennis, is if you guys have questions throughout, feel free to either put them in chat or respectfully unmute. Maybe if they're a longer question, put them in chat and we'll just wait till the end of Dennis will be addressing questions at the end of each section too. Sorry, Dennis, go ahead. That's
fine. Anytime we have a small group. If you have a question, just kind of jump in.
Cool.
If it's complicated, use chat. Paul is monitoring that. Okay. Speaking of the online classes, I attended a couple of them just to see how they were being managed. They run from 10 hours to 15 hours. Okay. There is no way I can condense 10 or 15 hours into 2 1-hour shots. Right? People I've talked to have said, gee, you know, I started learning PowerPoint. I started doing some things, but it never worked. Right? So because of those two things, I can't compress everything and people are having problems working it. I'm trying something a little different. What I will do in this presentation and in 2 weeks is to use a very skeleton program. We're going to start from scratch until we're able to make a presentation. And it's not a lot of things to remember. And everybody leaving here should be able to sit down and create a simple PowerPoint presentation. Right? That's my goal. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is share my screen. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah, we can see your desktop, Dennis.
Okay. Because here's where I'm coming from. Ring a bell with anybody? Okay. Let's start from ground zero. Right? Ground zero says that I want to open up PowerPoint. Now, there's a couple of different ways of doing that. One PowerPoint. Okay, so here's my PowerPoint 216. And this is a way to find out which version you have. My strong recommendation is, if you're going to play with this a couple of times, is once you bring this up, is go down here and pin it to the taskbar. Mine says unpin. That's because I've already pinned it to the taskbar. This means you don't have to search for it the next time you want to use it. You just click down here. Right? So I'll click down here and PowerPoint comes up. Right? This is a list of PowerPoint programs that I've set up. And this is a list of things that Microsoft is giving you. And we'll come back to both of these a little bit later. But right now, I'm going to start here where it says blank presentation. Can everyone see that blank? Because it's kind of small letters. Anybody not see the word blank presentation? Okay, I'm going to click that. And we just opened up PowerPoint. And what we're seeing here is a little rectangular box on the top and a little smaller rectangular box on the bottom. And it says click to add title. This box is called a placeholder. Microsoft has given you a location to add information. Over here on the left is once we put in information in here, it will show up over here. It'll be very small, but you'll be able to see what it looks like over here. So I'm going to pretend I'm setting up a presentation. I'm going to do a click, say, okay. So I've just typed something in, introduction to PowerPoint. If you're used to any Microsoft program like Word or Excel, you'll see up here where it says fonts and bold, italics, and this works in all the Microsoft programs the same way. This came up in normal. I can bold it. I can go over here and begin scrolling through. So you can set up any type of fonts you want, and typically you can choose your sizes. Down here, I'm going to type in can't type today. Okay, you see how this all came up? Notice that this now shows up over here on the left. This is called the slide pane. Right? I can enlarge this or reduce it by going down way in the right-hand corner and increasing or decreasing the size. I can't do very much here for you, except you can drag it a little bit.
There it is.
And make it a little bit more visible. You see that? Notice over here that this rectangle shows up on this slide. It does not show up over here. Right? So sometimes PowerPoint will give you the capability of putting in information that is not showing up over here. Is there any questions on what I just did? No? Okay. I'm going to hit enter. And notice it dropped down another line so I can continue typing. When I'm done with this particular slide, I can come up here where it says new slide, right? Or I can go to the top box. Right? If I went to the top box, it gives me a brand new slide and it gives me the exact same outline as before, okay? Click to add title, click to add text. Now I can go back and forth on these if I wish, right? Here's the first one. I want to point out something about the text here. If you look up here, this is and it's a font size of 60. The bottom line is 24. As a general rule, and this depends on how you're presenting the PowerPoint, is don't make any text less than 20. And if you can make it larger than 20, that would be my recommendation. Other things that are smaller than 20 are just too bloody hard to read. Now, I'm going to go down to the one we had before. And in this presentation, I'm going to bold this to start. Okay. Four major steps. I'm going to show you 4 steps that I suggest you go through every time you create a PowerPoint presentation. First of all, you want to open. And then you want to put in so you open PowerPoint, which we did. We started with a blank. We're putting in information. That's information I'm putting in right now. For my example, I'm going to keep it to text only, but information can be a video. It can be a picture. It can be a table, all kinds of things you can put in. Once you're satisfied with you've put in everything you want, I want you to come down and review. Review says you're going to take a look at all your slides, make sure they're in the right order. They contain the information you want, and you have everything you need for your presentation. And the last step is to run the presentation. Okay. This is what we're going to talk about in the next half hour. Any questions on the topics? We're going to open a file. We're going to input information. We're going to review it. And then I'll show you how you actually run it.
Hey,
Yes?
Dennis, how did you get the dots?
The bullet points, good question.
Bullet points.
The dots came in automatically when I selected a new slide. See?
Well,
See over
Dennis,
here, new
your
slide,
bullet points are highlighted too up top.
Yeah. Over here, this is what Paul's referring to. Okay,
So if you don't want the bullet points,
I can get rid of the bullet points.
You can just highlight the text and click the bullet points again.
Yeah. Oop.
oh, okay, so you click on bullet points to make the bullet points.
You can.
And to take them away, Joanne.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. We could highlight everything here. Go up to the bullet points and add it. Or I can say none.
thank
See
you.
what happened? They disappeared.
Does that make
Okay.
sense, Joanne?
Yeah, that did. I just didn't see the part where he clicked on the bullet points.
I didn't create them. Let me make another slide.
Okay.
See, there's a bullet point there.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Well, you know, let's step back for a second. The presentation program has some information in it which says, how am I going to respond when people start creating something? That response is, what kind of font am I going to use? What kind of size am I going to use? Is it bold or regular? All of these kinds of considerations are in a file associated with PowerPoint. So the default PowerPoint looks like this with a bullet here. Right? I'm not going to go into how you can change it, but there's something called a master slide. You can go in there and make modifications so that when you open up new slides, they come up and look different. They might have different fonts or different sizes or colors or things like that. So what we're seeing right now is the default that comes with PowerPoint, but the default can be overridden.
And I was
So
just going to
anyway-
add, Dennis, PowerPoint also has templates built in too that you can
Yep.
use with different styles as well.
Yeah, we're going to touch that right now.
Oh,
Okay.
cool.
So I got this, the next slide. The first slide over here, we said we were going to open. So here's opening. What happens here? Opening, and what we're going to do here, when you want to open PowerPoint, you have four basic choices. One of the choices is make a new one. That's what we did. The second choice is existing. That's what we're going to do when we come back and run this again. I'm going to close this program later, and then we'll reopen it, and then we'll be opening up an existing file. The third choice is something called a theme. And the fourth choice is called a template. I will talk about themes and templates a little bit later. right now, all we're interested in is these first two. Okay. Any questions? Okay. One of the things you'll find with all the Microsoft products is there are multiple ways to do the same thing over and over again. So I'm going to show you the way I usually do it, but there are alternatives. You may find 2 or 3 or 4 different ways of doing the identical thing. Right? So I'm going to go up here to the layout again.
Hey, Dennis, Barbara asked any
Yeah.
chance you can do a full screen on the share. She can't see the bar at the top of the screen with all the options.
Okay, let me see what I can do here.
Yeah, the Zoom thing might still block it, but maybe we should see.
Can she see everything now?
Yes.
It's the same size as the picture of you, Dennis, and you, Paul. Sorry, I mean, I like to see your smiling faces, but it'd be nice if the share screen was bigger
It's
so
not-
we could. Is there a way
Yeah,
I can zoom?
Yeah, you can. Do you see all of us on the side, Barbara?
I see 3. No, I'm in full screen view. And
Are you in?
and whoever is speaking.
Change it to side by side gallery. Your view.
Okay, now all your pictures are little. I see
Sorry, I think I froze or something.
everyone. Sheila and Art and Starla and Larry. Their screen.
Anyone else having a problem?
No, but there's a little square up on the right-hand side, and if you click on that,
You can also
it should open it up.
go just to the right center of the PowerPoint or the
Sorry, y'all. I froze for a second. Barbara, do you see his PowerPoint right now?
Is up, and it's computer screen, and so I'm sitting within a foot of your screen, Dennis.
Yep.
When you put it on layout, I can't see any of those. They're tiny. I can't even tell that they're words.
Barbara, can you go to the right-hand side of his? See that arrow? You can drag his screen.
Are we all set?
Thank you for your
Okay.
patience, people.
What I've been doing is going up here to new slide. There are 2 options here. Right? If I click the new slide here, but this has 9 different options in it. Right? And the options are where the placeholders are. Right? So this is a placeholder over here where we set it up. And I can choose a click to add title, click to add text, click to add text. You see this? They've now allowed me 5 different places to put in text. All right. Now I'm going to back off this for a second. I want to go up here to this bar. Can everybody see this up here?
Yes.
Okay. I'm on the home screen, and that's where I'll be working most of the time. Occasionally, we'll go to one of these tabs here and open it up and take a look at what's inside. But I'm not going to go through all of them. We just don't have quite that much time. All right. On this particular one, I'm going to put in my name and email address. And I'm putting this in so that if you want to contact me after this particular, have a suggestion for 2 weeks from now, let me know. And if it falls within the time period, I'll try and cover it for you.
And
Any
y'all have my
questions here?
email in your Zoom confirmation too. You can always email me and I can pass it on to Dennis.
Okay. I'm going to create a new slide again. All right. Here's my new slide. Again, it comes up exactly the same way as the last one. All right. Now, if for some reason you make this come up here to this little layout use. Right? So for example, I could change this to a blank. Or I can come back and I want here to be the layout in case I make a mistake. Now, what I most powerful with some supplemental a graph, anything like that. But the key is normally you're adding text. And what we've done over here on the left is each one of these things we've added text, right? Okay. And when you add text, you know, we've been looking at that says add text here, right? This whole thing is a placeholder. Right? Now, it may turn out to be that I don't want to use a placeholder, but I want to add text. Okay, so how do I do it? I can go back up to my slides here. And in this one, I'm going to go up to layout and I'm going to choose blank. Right? Here's blank. Right? Now, if I move my cursor and I'm typing on my keyboard, absolutely nothing is happening. Right? You must have some type of a box. It could be a placeholder box, or if I come up here to where it says insert on the top left, and then I come over here and I say text box. And I click text box, I can then draw a box. And I can put things in here. So another thing you can do, let's go back up here. We'll do an insert and I'm going to create another text box. You can go to a file and I'm going to go to a Word file. And here's a bunch of my old Word files. Okay, I'm going to take one which I did a while back. Right? And here's a big file. I can go in here in Word and do a copy. And then over here, I can do, okay, see what happened? You can create information outside of PowerPoint and then add it to PowerPoint. Presentations, what I do is I set it up in Word because I find it's a lot easier to manipulate things in Word because I'm used to it. And then I'll just copy and paste it into PowerPoint. So you have an option now, 2 different ways to do things. Any questions there?
Can you go back again and show the initial choice you made there to
Which choice?
on the menu? When
Well,
you
here,
yeah.
yeah, I did an insert and I came over here where it says text box.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And I clicked text box and it gave me a different kind of cursor.
Right.
And then I could draw something. Now I can type in here.
But the next step, how did you snag from a Word doc?
From the Word document, I just opened up a Word document.
Okay.
I
Okay.
highlighted whatever I wanted.
Okay. I have that. I thought you hit something in the menu to pull it up, but I know how to do that part. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, he pretty much just copy and pasted Starla.
Okay. Okay. I thought I missed a little click on the top menu. Thank you.
Okay. The one thing I want to show you one more. Let's make another new slide. Okay. This is a blank again, so I got to get an insert. And I pick up a text box. And I'm just going to put some junk in it. Okay. Now, if I don't like this for any reason, I can come back over here, select this thing, and I have some choices on what I want to do. I can hide the slide, for example, okay? Or using the Microsoft normal technique of Control Z, I can go backward, okay? Notice I went backward a couple and the slide disappeared. Right? Now I put in several things over here and I'm getting concerned that I might lose something. So I want to come over to File and I want to do a Save As. Right? And I have a PowerPoint presentation open on my desktop. PowerPoint presentation is the name of a folder. Okay. I want to save this file in that folder. Right? So I'm going to hit Enter. And I want to change this to, let's call this class presentation, class PowerPoint. Okay. Now I'm going to save it. So this whole thing now has been saved. And if I exit, I can come right back in and do something. So we have a bunch of slides here. Let me go back up here for a second. And one of the things I can do is I can look at each slide and press Enter. And it will automatically pop in a new blank slide for me. So if you want a new one, you can go up here to New Slides, or you can press the Enter. Any questions on what we're doing so far?
Did you say you press Enter to
Yeah.
create a new slide?
Yeah, I'll just press the Enter key.
And at one point you mentioned you clicked on Insert, and I didn't see that up above in the toolbar.
It's right here next to the home.
Ah, oh, okay.
Yeah,
To the right of
Insert,
home.
yeah, just like any Microsoft program,
Right.
you have different tabs up here, and when you click a tab, it opens up a sub menu underneath it. So I'm normally on the Home tab, but I might hit Insert in order to put in a text box.
I see it. Thank you.
So
Okay.
you won't see the text box option until you click Insert.
Yeah. Right
And I would
now-
recommend saving a lot earlier than Dennis did if you're working on a
Yeah.
big presentation, because you know, you might want to start saving after your first slide or your first text box so you don't lose your work.
And I missed that, how you saved that whole thing when
How
you,
did I say it?
the whole program.
You go to File and you do a save or a save as.
Oh, just the normal. Okay.
Just
Yeah.
normal stuff. Okay. Let me see something here.
Yeah, if you've used like Microsoft Word, the saving is going to be the exact same with PowerPoint.
Right. The trick is finding it after you've saved it. Where did
Yeah,
it
you
go?
want to know where you saved it to. And if there's a lot of confusion around there, you might want to just put it on your desktop initially.
Can you drag and drop it to the desktop?
If you have it saved somewhere else. When you
Oh.
first start a document, it's nowhere to be dragged until you save it that first time.
It figures.
Go ahead, Dennis.
Okay. So we took a placeholder, we looked at no placeholders, right? And we inserted from another program. Right? And the last thing is something called notes. And for some reason, I'm not seeing my notes. Let me scroll down here. Paul, any idea why the notes disappeared? Should be right down here.
It's probably the type of presentation, Dennis. Is it maybe either click view or slideshow? I think we could probably turn it on.
Now we're normal. That should have shown it.
Do you see something with notes there?
Yeah, that says notes page. Okay. So over here, here's
Oh.
the slide I was on. I clicked notes page up here. I'm going to add text.
This isn't what you were thinking of though, Dennis, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And then I'm going to go back to home. And I want to bold that. And I want to make it larger. Okay. Now I'm going to hit. Okay, so basically what we've done is we've put in various slides. We put in a sequence over here. And we've added text. Now what I want to do is we've done the first two steps. Remember over here? We said we're going to open and put in information. That's what I've just done. Now we're going to take a look at something called review. All right. Up here, there's a tab that says review. I can click that tab and it gives me some information here. The thing I want to do is go over here in spelling. And I want to click spelling. And it says the spell check is complete. Can everybody see this? It's kind of small.
Yeah.
I am terrible on spelling. So one thing I always do is do a spell check. Right. Now, I want to review all of my slides. And there's a couple of ways to do it. I can come back to the top and one at a time, click my way through it and look at it. Right. Or I can go up here where it says slideshow. Right. And it says from beginning. Okay. This is the way it's going to actually look. And if I hit enter, I will go through each one of the slides one at a time. This is a way I can test things. Right. Now, if I have a lot of slides, there's something else I can do. Where is it? I just lost one of my little indicators here.
What'd you lose?
I was looking for the slide sorter.
Ooh, I don't know that one.
Okay, well, I can come down here. I'll show you what it looks like. Then I'll figure out where it is. Okay, but I just clicked on the
So
lower.
Dennis,
right-
I just wanted to answer Joanne's question. She said presentations misspelled on the title slide. Why didn't spell check catch it? That's a great question, Joanne. It's because Dennis didn't run spell check on that slide. If he did, it would have caught it. So you would have to run spell check on each clump of text on each slide that you've inserted. That's a good question.
Okay,
Thank you. I thought you would run it, it would run throughout the whole presentation, but you have to do it slide by slide, correct?
Yeah.
Okay,
And possibly even text box by text box.
okay. Let me go through something for a second. I'm going to review. This. Somebody making noise? Okay, thank you.
I thought it was you.
No, I'm just sitting here listening. Okay. One of the things I want to do here, I'm on the home. I want to come over now to the view. I look at view and I have some choices here. This second one, this is the normal view. This is the outline view, which gets rid of all the boxes, and it just shows me my steps over here on the left. This is another way to review to see if everything makes sense. The third way to review is to click slide sorter, and you can see all of my slides. Now, if I filled up this whole page, I would have a scroll bar and I could scroll down and look. Right? As I'm looking at my slides, I may say, gee, you know, I made a mistake. This particular slide should be over here. And all I did was left click it, hold it down, and move the slide around. Any questions on that? We're hearing a phone conversation or a conversation with somebody.
I'm doing a little muting here. It's weird. I think I muted everybody though.
Okay, I don't know where it's coming from now.
It's that mysterious television.
Okay. We've now gone through all the steps here of opening.
Dennis, I just wanted to note that you got your notes back at the bottom.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, it says click add notes. I don't know why.
It's because you went into presentation view. That's where you need to be to see those,
Oh, okay.
because it's for the presenter.
No, I'm not in presentation view yet.
Yeah, your normal is part of presentation view.
Okay. I hear something. Okay,
I can't figure out where that's coming from, Dennis.
yeah, just a second, Carlene, it's coming in on my presentation. Thank you. It was something happening here. We're all set now.
Cool.
Okay. The last thing is run the presentation, right? And there's a couple of function keys you can use to help set this up. I'm going to hold down my F2 key. Has everyone see this little project screen come up?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone see it? Okay.
Yep.
I'm planning on this particular presentation to sit at my terminal and display it on a large screen someplace. So with the function key 2, I can go over here and click duplicate. Okay, duplicate means that via wireless or with a cable, I'm connecting my computer to another screen of some type. Now, that could be just a large screen. It could be another computer. It could be a TV set. It might be a projector. I want to send this image someplace else also. You'll have to figure out how you're going to have your audience watch the presentation and then choose one of these devices. So I would normally click duplicate. Then I'm going to hit escape to come back here. Now, I want to start this thing from the beginning. And I want to go into something called presentation or presenter mode. Presenter mode on my particular computer is the Alt key and function key 5. Well, it used to work. Okay, it just came up. Can everyone see the screen now?
Yep.
Okay. What we're looking at is one of the most important screens you're going to look at. This is what's going to be displayed on the secondary device. This is what the audience sees. This is the very next slide coming up. So I'm the presenter and I know what's showing to the audience. And this is what's the next step coming up. Right? Over here, I have some unique tools. And down here, I have a way of moving backward and forward in the slide presentation. For example, once I've talked about this, I can click this button and go to the next slide. Notice that the slide has come up. This is the next one called opening. I click it again, opening shows up here. And here's the next slide. I click the next one, the next one, and the next one. All right?
And Dennis, to get to this presenter mode, did you say Alt plus function plus 5?
It's just Alt in the function key 5. Not the function key, but the F5 key at the top.
Oh,
right.
Alt and F5. Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's what's happening here. Here's what I'm displaying to the audience. And over here, I have a note that I've added to a particular slide. This note is on this slide, but it's visible only to me as the presenter. This does not show up to the audience. So I didn't emphasize it, but if you have a complicated slide, you can put in a very large note so that you can keep track of it as you're working through your slides. You'll know what to say, but the audience won't see it.
Dennis Starla had a question.
Yep.
Yeah, so I've been creating the same that you're presenting, and I think I'm hitting Alt F5, but all I get is my PowerPoint back. I don't get the preview like you're showing.
Are you holding them at the same time, Starla?
I thought so.
Yeah, mine doesn't work all the time. I usually have to hit it a couple of times. I hold down the Alt key and I click the F5 a couple of times.
Oh, so maybe Alt first and then F5?
It might be. What I found is every computer kind of works a little differently for some reason with it. Or you can hold down the F5 and then hit the Alt key or hit them simultaneously.
Okay, well, I'm not getting it, but let's go ahead and move on.
Okay.
Oh, but Dennis, doesn't she have to be in that duplicate mode?
Well, she should be over here. Let's go back to review for a second. Right. Okay. If you come up to this top tab, you see that?
Yep. Click
Okay.
slideshow, Dennis.
Click slideshow and come over here and put a click mark in use presenter view.
You see that, Starla?
Yes.
Click, put a check mark in the presenter view and
Okay.
then try it again.
Try what? Oh, Alt 5.
Alt F5, yeah. No luck?
Okay.
Starlet, anything happen?
Yeah, I have it. Thank you.
Oh, cool.
Excellent. Okay. Let me go through a couple of more tools down here. Over here, this is a pen and a laser pointer. And you can choose, for example, a laser pointer. Everyone see the red dot? So if you're sitting someplace and you want to point out something on a slide, you can select this laser. Or you might want to use a pen and actually write something on the slide while you're giving the presentation. So you have some choices here. This one is like the slide sorter. It shows you all of the slides. You want to get out of here, hit escape, and you go back to the presenter mode. Right? If you want to enlarge something, you can select an area and blow it up for your audience. So you might have something very small and somebody says, gee, I can't read that. You have the capability of going in and enlarging it. Over here, which I don't use very often, but it sits, you're in presenter mode, but what the audience is going to see is a blank screen. Right? And you can do talking, for example, and then you say, okay, let's start the presentation. And you click it and your first slide will show up. Okay. Any questions on what we've done so far over here? Okay.
How did you get to that place where you chose duplicate?
Okay. What I did was I held down the function key and the F2 key on my computer.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. So basically, we've gone through the information that I wanted to present, which is these 4 major steps. Now we still have some time and I can continue on some other things, but before I do that, I want to make sure everybody is comfortable here. And what I'm going to do is stop. Okay, so Paul and I will answer any questions. Any questions?
What was that, Starla? You're muted.
Charlotte, did you have a question? You're muted.
I was saying we need some deep breathing yoga exercise.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I tried to keep this fairly simple and fairly straightforward,
Hey, I have a PowerPoint.
but
Cool.
there's a lot of stuff coming through.
Yeah, and thanks for asking about that, Starla, because now we've captured it on the video, because I think that will be helpful for others later too.
Okay. All right, so let's continue. We have a few more minutes.
Sure.
I'm going to go back to share screen. Okay. And I'm going to do one more save. And I'm doing a save by holding down the control key and the S key. That's a short step for a save. I could have gone over here to file and gone down to file and click save. Either way, I've saved this and now I close it. Okay. So we are now out of PowerPoint. When we were looking at slides, that suggested there was 4 different things when you open PowerPoint. So let's take a look at it.
And I was just going to ask, did everybody
PowerPoint.
understand when Dennis says like control something, what he's talking about, the keyboard shortcuts?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
cool.
didn't do a keyboard shortcut. I went down my taskbar.
And Joanne had a good question, Dennis. She says, does it save by the date? Yes. When you save a Microsoft document to your computer, it will have a timestamp, not only with the date, but the exact time of day. Go ahead, Dennis.
Okay. What we did before was we went through and we said blank presentation. The second way is you can find a file, and here's the file we created. So I can click that and it brings up the presentation we just created. Right? The third way, let me start it again. Okay, is to take a look at this bar here. This bar contains something. These images here are things called themes. If I click one of these, it gives me information about the theme. Okay. And a theme basically is some images added to the slide, plus a particular type of font and a particular type of size of the font that it's being used. Right. Now, if I like this theme, I can take a look at it and come down and click create. And I now have a new slide where I can put information in, okay? But you see this, if I start clicking new slides, okay, it will give me the same type of layout as set up on this title over here. This particular slide is probably the most important slide in the entire slideshow, because it's going to tell people what your presentation is about. Now, if I come over here and I just close this and I don't save it,
You'll lose it.
yeah. So I'm going to kill PowerPoint. I'm going to open it up again.
And Dennis, Joanne had a question I wanted to cover because it was related to something you were talking about a moment ago. She said, does it save all previous copies also, or is there a way to save all versions of the presentation? That's a great question, Joanne. If you're resaving the same presentation with the same name to the same location, it will cover up the previous version. If you want to save all versions, you need to use save as, and every time you use save as, you need to give the file a new name and or save it to a different location. So if you're doing different versions, you might want to do your first one version 1, second one version 2, and then you can have them all in the same like folder like Dennis, but they'll all have those different numerals so you know what version it is. Good question. Sorry, Dennis.
Yeah, that's fine. Windows also has a function called file history, which means every time you save stuff, it saves the newest version and all prior old versions. You probably need another disk drive hooked up to your computer and have file history go there, because it fills up things very fast. Okay, we've talked about the blank and existing and themes. Along with the themes, there's something called templates. Notice over here, when I click the theme, it gives me a create, and that's all. When I click this, okay, it says more images. What this is a template. And a template takes a particular kind of presentation and it pre-formats it with information for you. You might have a presentation you're giving about a business. So you would find a business template. Here's a template called Getting to Know Your Teacher. If I create it, okay, Microsoft has already created a dummy presentation for me, and all I have to do is come in and make some changes here. So on this one, I would add my name. I would come down to the next slide. Okay. And I would put some stuff in here, like I've been teaching and I would type in some information. The next slide, I would list these reasons, okay? So a theme gives you basic information in the way of color and fonts. A template gives you a complete presentation that you fill in information. Now, you can create your own templates and save them if you want. It's something I'm mentioning, but I'm not going to go through how to actually do that. But here's a complete slideshow. You know, if I
Just need
went
to
to
enter the info.
view and I looked at the slide sorter, here's the complete slideshow. So I'm going to close this. All right. Any questions by anybody right now? Because we're kind of bumping the noon time period. I'm going to stop the share for a moment. Okay.
And no hurry if folks have questions.
Yeah, I'm in no hurry.
Either.
Let me kind of put this in perspective. What we've just done is gone through from start to finish on a simple presentation. Everyone, if you think about it, if you watch the recording, should be able to make a presentation. All I used here was basic features of text. In 2 weeks, we're going to come back and I'm going to give you an overview of how you can put in other things to make the presentation much more interesting. You know, how can I add videos? How can I add pictures? How can I add a flow chart or things like that to make the presentation more interesting and more meaningful,
And more lively.
more lively. But I hope I've met the goal today that you're able to start from scratch and create a complete presentation. If anyone have any questions on anything we've done today? No? Okay. You have my email. Send me some money.
You mentioned a video, Dennis, of this presentation. Will that be available through the library's archives, Paul?
Yeah. So I should be able, if I don't get it up today, because sometimes it takes a while for them to load to YouTube, I should probably have it on the library's YouTube channel by Tuesday.
Very good.
When I go back to work. And just so everybody knows, on the 22nd, you don't have to re-register. You've already registered for both classes. So just like yesterday, about 24 hours before the next one, like the Friday before, I'll send you all a Zoom reminder with the join button, so you don't have to re-register.
Thank you. It's very, very good information.
Great. Thanks, Joanna. Well, and thank you, Dennis, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
So send me an email, watch the recording, think about what we've accomplished and make sure you can go through it. So if
And
you
like
have-
I said, if you didn't capture Dennis's email earlier and you have something you want us to address next time, feel free to use my email, which you have in your Zoom confirmation, and I'll forward that to Dennis.
Okay.
Thank you for today.
Yeah,
You're
thanks
welcome.
y'all for coming.